This week, Americans learned the truth. They were intentionally deceived in order to get ObamaCare passed. Listen.
Lack of transparency is a huge political advantage. Call it the stupidity of the American voter really critical to getting the thing to pass.
The American voter is too stupid to understand the difference.
It's a very clever, basic exploitation of the lack of economic understanding of the American voter. Okay?
That was one of the key architects of the law. Today, we are learning even more from Jonathan Gruber. The tapes, they just keep on coming.
Now, the problem is it's a political nightmare. And people say, no, you can't tax my benefits. It feels like. So what we did a lot in that room was think about, how could we make this work? And Obama's like, he's really a realistic guy. He's like, look, I can't just do this. He said, it's just not going to happen politically. The bill will not pass. How do we manage to get there through phase-ins and other things? And we talked about it. And he was just very interested in that topic. And once again, that ultimately became the genesis of what's called the Cadillac tax,
which they said intentionally deceived the American people. The Republican Party has not rested on this. You thought that political season was over, but I think this is smart. Watch this ad.
Jonathan Gruber is one of the most respected economists in the world.
Now, I respect the Clintons back in '93 for actually having tried to get this done. But, see, I think they did it the wrong way because they went behind closed doors.
I don't know if you have seen Jonathan Gruber of MIT's analysis.
Basically, call it the stupidity of the American voter or whatever. It's a very clever, basic exploitation of the lack of economic understanding of the American voter.
We have to pass the bill so that you can find out what is in it.
Greg, they've been saying ever since Obamacare passed that anyone who complained about it, that their reasoning to say that you were stupid was to say, look, it's the law of the land.
Right.
But I think it's the lie of the land.
Ooh.
And now, I just thought I would try that line out on you.
That was quite a play on words, Dana. I think we should just shut the show down now. It's not going to get
the lie of the land.
No, Gruber, he's a hero. He is an absolute hero. We should be worshiping this guy. His last name is now a verb. To Gruber something is to accidentally tell the truth. For example, if you're at a bar and you're talking to a girl and your buddy mentions that you're unemployed, that's Grubering. Or somebody's with his kid and you talk about how there's no tooth fairy. That's Grubering. It's when you unintentionally tell the truth. It's like a parrot with Tourette's. And that's what he shows is the ultimate truth, is that progressivism, when exposed, becomes a folly. It is reviled. It explains why it has to be cloaked in darkness. Leftism is like tuna salad. It doesn't do well in the sun.
Ew.
Very sick.
Yes. And then you vomit.
Right. Well, that is just, I almost vomited when I watched all of this. Eric, so Jonathan Gruber, one thing is, maybe he is a smart economist from a liberal progressive standpoint. He's a terrible politician. But he's been out there continuing to talk. Is he going to be persona non grata?
Well, remember, this is a speaking tour that he's been doing for the better part of 4 years. I mean, so he was part of the development of Obamacare. He was paid $300,000 or $400,000. 400 grand. And then he went out on tour. And we talked about Jonathan Gruber for years. Years ago, we said, hey, this architect is out there saying it's not all it's cracked up to be. Now it's coming back to haunt them. I think his biggest problem is that he tried to walk the comments back. He said it was regrettable and off the cuff, and then we found 4 more occasions of it.
But also, I've been thinking about this from a communication standpoint, Kimberly, because, yes, they did try to walk the comments back on MSNBC on a show, with Ronan Farrow, in which Ronan Farrow tried to help him to try to fix it. I mean, I don't think that they realize that people are actually really PO'd.
What does that stand for?
I can't say.
She can't say. You know what it means. Yeah, they are upset. And I cannot believe this guy's everywhere, right? Every time you think that's it, there's no more video, there's another one. He's more overexposed than a Kardashian, and that is saying something. He's the Kardashians minus the oil. That's all I have to say about this guy. Every time you look up, there's another video of him, another statement, another association with the party. They cannot shake it, and it's going to be a problem. And I think it's got enough legs to it and distance that it's going to the taint is going to stay with them through 2016. Bob.
Yeah, he's not very slick, is he, Bob? You're slicker. Let me ask you something. President Bush, in one of the conversations early on with President Obama before he took office, is that he recommended, if President Obama said he had a couple of goals, the president said, if you want to get those things done, try to do immigration first. President Obama decided not to do that, and he pushed through on a partisan basis Obamacare. Do you think that was a mistake, looking back?
Well, right now I need Obamacare because I have a ripped gluten muscle I do, man. It hurts. It really hurts. And listen, I think in retrospect, I think, yeah, immigration would have been easier to get. And I think, but as I said yesterday, as bad as this all appears, I, A, don't think the American people are glued to their TV set on it, and B, Obamacare is now settled. It needs to be changed. It will be changed. I assume when you ask what the Republicans should do, my guess is they should start to do things like the device tax and some other things and try to amend it.
But in America, the laws aren't necessarily, it's not settled, it's not set in stone. I mean, do you think that this gives some momentum to the Republicans, Eric, to repeal?
What I wanted to get in there before is the reason why Gruber even matters right now is because Obamacare isn't working. People aren't satisfied.
Right.
If Obamacare was working and people were satisfied, you know what, so what? The guy said we were stupid. But great, it's working, it's fantastic, but it's not. Costs are going up, premiums are going. You know what, Bob? The numbers say it's not. So when you have to pay more for your health insurance, with the exception of people who aren't paying anyway because they're being subsidized or giving it to free, they don't count in my world. It's the people who are paying for it. Prices are going up, so people are mad. So that's why when Gruber says people are stupid, Americans are stupid, they voted for it even though we knew it wasn't what it was cracked up to be. That's why he matters. If it was working, no, he wouldn't.
You just pulled a Mitt Romney on that when you said you didn't care about people who can't afford to pay for it.
The point is not whether there's honestly, more coverage or less. But that's not the point, whether there's more coverage or less. We're talking about health care and choice. The idea that somehow the government can claim part of my freedom through some coercive action because a group in the government thinks that they know better than we do. And this is what it's about. It goes back to Gruber, that they can lie because they think that they know better than you do. Therefore, they can sit there and tell you, we have more coverage, but it's not even about the care. They don't care about the care.
No.
It's about the fact we've got 10 million, even though it's maybe 7 million. That is to them success without actually having any metrics for success. It's all one big lie, and it's all based on coercion, on us being forced to accept this.
The fourth video today that came out, Kimberly, basically said that they knew that the numbers were bad and they wouldn't add up. Right. But basically what they wanted is to get everybody addicted to the subsidies from the federal government. And basically the only way to fix the program is something that Bob said from the beginning, which is nationalized health care, fully nationalized health care, and a single-payer program.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, unfortunately, that's what they wanted to begin with. I think that was the end game, right? They really don't care about the quality of... I'm not trying... Listen, they want to say that they have this many people insured. They didn't really think this through in the way they should have to make sure that it was going to be meaningful health care for American people. This was a political ideology and a chess move for them, and they wanted to get it done regardless. Gruber even said that. That's why they didn't give accurate numbers to the CBO, because then it would be exposed. Now we know the truth. So then what are people going to do about it? What are the Republicans going to do now with this information, especially since they do have the political wherewithal to make a difference and do something substantively?
One thing we got to keep in mind here, both Democrats and Republicans, I can't think of one who did not think that the health care system of this country, insurance, was workable. Everybody wanted to change it. They didn't want to change it the same way. They certainly didn't want to go with me in a single payer, but the Republicans even agreed that it was the old way.
But was this the answer? I don't think so.
Because the old way was still subsidized. We wanted medical savings accounts. We wanted to be able to have a free market involved in this, in the decision-making. That's never happened.
Let's take a look at on a different angle of this, which is media coverage of it. Here's Ron Fournier last night on the special report panel.
It undermines the president's credibility even further. It undermines the central element of the Democratic Party. This is not only a lie, but it's insulting to the American people to say that we're stupid. And yes, it's going to affect the president's ability to be able to have any credibility with the public and defend this law.
So I was thinking about this, Greg. You had mentioned before when Fox News cooties, because remember the media, they didn't cover Benghazi for a long time, and then when they did, it was to say that the right wing was crazy. This story about Gruber has basically gotten zero attention from the networks. CNN's done a little bit through Jake Tapper, and CBS actually mentioned it once.
Yeah.
But do you think this is another example of Fox News cooties?
I think part of it is the media coverage. For example, Rachel Maddow called this story a shiny bauble, which translates into this story says everything about us being them, as lying shills in service of the emperor. Gruber is like that hotel flashlight that exposes stains, but the stains are their bias. These are the people.
Called a black light.
This is why they avoid Gruber, because Gruber says everything about their lives and about their life.
Let me tell you one thing that could happen with this is on a serious note. Gruber will call, the problem is that there may be enough votes to change part of this act to override a veto. I mean, there were a lot of Democrats who were, for example, against the Device Act.
Yeah, Device Act.
And there are 4 or 5 things I can think of that you might actually be able to override a presidential veto. You probably couldn't have done it before this happened. This becomes sort of a galvanizing issue for him.
You know what the one thing you can do?
What?
Will not go through? His nickname was Mr. Mandate. The biggest problem conservatives have with Obamacare is the mandate. The mandate that you must own insurance.
But
or
without the mandate, you don't have.
You can call it a tax. No, but that's you can take medical device tax out. That's not a big deal.
No.
I mean, that's not Obamacare. What's Obamacare is the mandate part of it.
The center pole of the tent is the
mandate. You could take out. I mean, you could do something about tort reform. You could do cross state lines.
You think you're going to get a tort reform?
Without the mandate, you don't have Obamacare. So that's what you really want to do, right?
Well, yeah, but it's not going to happen.
Okay, but then what do you go back to? What we had?
No, you'll never go back to what we had because there will be, now that people know how bad it was, they will be willing to listen to Republican ideas, which should have been listened to in the first place. All the things that you're talking about, Bob, are things that Republicans wanted to put forward. Yes. Paul Ryan, Rubio, everybody was trying, and President Obama just shut them down because they knew better, and they knew they were lying.
Well, Greg raised
so bad about it.
Greg raised the savings, medical savings. From my standpoint, we don't agree on this, but I think it would have put a lot of senior citizens, a lot of other people broke because.
But we had medical savings accounts before, and that wasn't happening. I had a medical savings account. Why take that away from people?
Did?
I don't know how my percentage did, but I know that I liked mine, and enough people did that they were able to say, okay, here's my out-of-pocket expenses. If I need to buy some cold medicine, or if you have pneumonia and you need cough medicine.
Think about all that money, not just with medical savings accounts, but think about all that money that went into Social Security that could have been in the stock market now. The stock market under President Obama has exploded. Think about all those people and all that money wasted in Social Security that could have gone there.
And also it gives people freedom to be able to try things like that Lippy Flow thing for my eyes, but that's not, it's not prescribed. It's not like an insurance thing. You actually have to pay out of pocket, and it's quite expensive.
So you can use that
in my kitchen.
There's so many restrictions on medical savings
flexible spending accounts.
Can we make one more point? A lot of those town halls were attended by Tea Party, and the Tea Party really flourished during that time, the debate over Obamacare, and you guys, in your side, called them crazy. Guess what, Bob? They were all right.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. Where have they been the last 3 years?
Yes.
Hey, where have they been the last 3 years? Why don't they continue to protest it?
No, well, we could spend a whole other time on that. The other thing is, in case you missed it, during that segment, Bob revealed something that happened to him. What he revealed is he pulled a glute muscle, ripped a glute muscle.
It was his.
Which he called a gluten.
Or a glutton muscle.
Oh, whatever it is. Yeah, it hurts. That's all I can say.
Very interesting.